Welcome once again to Rayo Breckenridge Outdoors. Our show is brought to you in part by Daiwa, where high technology keeps coming up with better ways to fish. Ranger boats, we still build them one boat at a time. Fish Formula by Keeper Bait Company. For the serious fishermen, Fish Formula just keeps making sense. And by Strike King Lure Company, manufacturers of the world's #1 spinnerbaits. After this message from our sponsor, Rayo will be right back and take you fishing.
The boss, the bank, the bills, you forget them all when the big one hits. The new Daiwa Whisker Graphite. Tiny silicon fibers make the graphite components lighter and stronger. Grace under pressure. When you've been waiting all week, you better go with the best. We're talking serious fishing here.
Boy, you just can't believe how well the new lure I'm using right here catches fish. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Dance, and you're looking at a totally new concept in fishing lures, one that I've wished for during my entire fishing career. It's the new dancing eel, and bass simply can't resist it when it comes swimming by. Now, you can't buy these anywhere yet, but watch close because we want to give you one absolutely free.
Yes, you heard Bill right. The incredible new dancing eel is absolutely free with your purchase of original Fish Formula March 1st through 31st only. Details at your favorite dealer.
On the water, Ranger performance is well known, but out of the water, concentration turns to the emergence of another name, Ranger Trail. Designed for maximum protection, these trailers are custom fitted to each Ranger hull, and this marriage of boat and trailer is made even stronger with forged support beams, waterproof lights, and special lubricating hubs. Not only are Ranger Trails easy to load, but a preset camber and tow-in on the axle ensures better tracking and longer tread wear. Ranger Trail, because there's a lot riding on your investment.
If you were a big bass and you saw this rascal come flashing by, would you hit it? You bet you would. It's Strike King's sensational willow spin featuring a new prism bar willow leaf blade that creates a unique sound and vibration that fish are really attracted to. Available in 3 sizes and 20 colors, including 6 new tricolors. The Willow Spin by Strike King. Try it. It's truly a big bass bait.
More than a quarter century has passed since Bill Bethshears started prowling the creeks and sloughs that rim this famous Tennessee lake. During that time, he came to know the area quite well. One of his favorite fishing holes is a buckbrush-filled stretch of water called Birdsong Creek. Here in springtime, crappie find ideal conditions to complete their spawning ritual. A hard bottom with not much silt, good oxygen levels in the water, and plenty of cover. A warm sun and light breezes from the south greet our fishermen as they cruise Birdsong. An ideal day, an ideal area. Bill and Rayo won't let this fishing opportunity pass them by.
Here in Birdsong Creek, you got everything in the world to fish for. We're catching these spawning fish now, but you got stump fields, shallow, deep, what else in here? Creek turns.
There's creek bends. We fish a lot of creek bends, deep stumps where the water never gets below the stumps. We got stumps here that's like 12, 15 foot deep. On the drop-offs, the deep drop-offs, it's 25 foot deep. We fish the creek turns, is One up here in the creek, we call it the horseshoe bend, and they just, when the crappie moves out, it just loads up. And in July and August, you can catch crappie just like we catching now, and sometimes you catch bigger crappie because they'll school at that time. Of course, here in all of the bushes, and they're spawning. But in July and August, when it gets hot, the water gets hot, they go deep. And they'll find them deep holes and deep pockets.
Hey, look what I got going, Bill. He tried to get under the boat with me. I got right next to that.
You got him right out of that bush,
here.
didn't you? Huh?
I got him right out beside, about where he is now. He's just about circled the boat.
Well, that's a good fish.
I know, Bill, that you catch fish bigger than that in here.
Oh, we catch a lot of fish bigger than that, but that's a good size crappie. That's a good slab.
Oh boy, I'd like to catch a bunch of them today.
Hey man, you talking about dressing the dinner plate?
You gonna put me right on them, aren't you?
I'm gonna try our best to get us right where they're supposed to be.
Did you get a hit then, or?
I might have.
Fishing these buckbrush this way, you're doing something I've done many a time, and that's with a cork.
Well, I tell you.
Fishing a jig with a cork on it. Some people, Bill, this may be a little bit unusual for them, but I've done this for a number of years, and I know you have. You're in this situation. You find the depth that you want, then you set your cork accordingly, right?
That's exactly right. Then you can just swing it right onto these bushes, and usually the fish is laying right at the base of the bushes. Of course, you catch a lot of them on the outer fringes.
Well, you telling me sometime you reach right in the center of these bushes. It's even with the water where you got
go right up over the top and right down through the middle of them. You've got another one fixing to go there, ain't you?
Hey, look what I got going, Bill.
He done took that cork under again, didn't he?
He did it too. You know, Bill, of all of our fishing, I'm gonna mess around here and lose him.
You don't want to lose nothing like that.
No, it's always just what I did there. A good adage to drop right back in the same place or near, because that can be in one bush. I know I have, and you have too, caught as many as 10 or 15 fish at times.
They'll bunch in certain bushes. You caught 2 out of that one.
Right.
Okay, you come back to it in 10, 15 minutes, and you might catch 2 more out of it.
Right.
Out of the same bush. They will school to spawn. You got your males and your females that some is in and some is out. And they'll come back in and just in a little bit afterwards.
Right. What you got going there, Bill?
Hey, look at here, boy. I got a little one. Shucks.
There ain't no fish little. He's big enough to eat. So.
Tell you what, he's bigger than this jig.
Well, he's
a small one, but I tell you what, he make 2 good little fillets.
That's right.
I've eat a many one like that.
Bill, you go talking about those fillets, I immediately go getting hungry. I've eaten some of your fish at your home a lot of times, and you fix to fish some of the best fish that I ever ate. Bill, I guess you fished this cove here without asking you a number of times, hadn't you?
I imagine I've caught a ton out of here from over the years that I've been fishing this lake, Rayo.
It always produces for you, huh?
I never come in here in spawning time that I don't come out of here with a fair string of fish.
What you got going on?
Hey, look here, boy, what I've come out from all that bush with.
God.
Look at that, Rayo. Look at that.
That is
that's
a pretty
brought
fish,
stick fish.
Here I was talking about you
trying to cook fish, and you got to catch them before you can cook them. You know it?
Yeah, that's a pretty one now.
There's another good fish right there, Rayo.
That's a good fish. They all good to me, especially.
Boy, let me tell you something, boy. He took that.
And went, huh?
He took that jig and went yonder with it.
What do you do? Try to swallow it, Bill?
He's got it here, and
I got some needle nose in here somewhere now when you need them.
I believe I'm going to have them on this one. This dude here's hooked. He's hooked some kind of good.
Here you go, Bill.
Well, I tell you what, I sure appreciate that, Rayo.
Boy, You got him over that nose.
Nose ring.
Yeah.
Gonna put him up there in the well?
Well, I sure don't want to throw him away.
Well, that's exactly what I thought.
That's a nice
We
fish,
gotta have something to eat for supper tonight.
Well, if you do your usual job on cooking them.
Boy, I'm tell you what, that dude there just about got my little tail.
They can, they get a hold of that one that size on those jigs just right. They can make it pretty rough on those jigs. Bill, how long you been jig fishing?
I've been on this lake since '51, and I guess that's when I started jig fishing.
Done it a long time.
Yeah, I've seen this old lake do lots of things. It's been a good lake to me, and it's been a good lake to many other people.
Well, at one time, I know it was the longest man-made lake in the United States, and it's always the Tennessee River originally was noted all over the United States for its catfish.
Well, this is, like I say, it's an old lake, but this still produces good strings of fish. Sauger, catfish, bluegill, bass, and crappie is what we're catching today.
Look there, Bill. Look at there.
Hey, what you got one going there, boy?
He won't take it all the way down.
You better catch that fish. If you don't, he's going to get off.
He's not either. That's something that always amazed me, how they'll sometimes they'll hit a jig like that and just start easing off, same level.
Right.
You know, I guess all of us has got places that, you mentioned spawning season. We've all got places we go back year after year that will continuously be good for you. You're always catching there.
There's something about the bottom, something about the nature of the fish that they will go back to their spawning grounds
year after year.
Year after year.
Naturally, that can change a little bit with the water in the lake being either stained or up or down. They will move in some coves, I'm sure.
Lake fluctuation here at Rayo has a big part of the spawning as well as the water temperature. When our water temperature reaches about 68 to 74 degrees, we can start looking for fish to start spawning.
Bill, I've always thought that places like this we're talking about what produces year after year has to do with the bottom of the lake, the soil on the lake, like sand, small pea gravel is ideal. These fish have got to have a chance to lay their eggs, and in the clean bottom, where the legs won't get contaminated by the silt and whatnot. And these fish knows all this. And I think that's the reason, they come back year after year, one of the big reasons, because they know these spawning areas.
That's right, Rayo. Now, this particular cove that we're in right here in Pocket is a hard bottom. It don't have but a very little gravel in it, and that's the reason that they come to these bushes to do their spawning, so that they can, they'll have some cover from the predators of the eggs, and so that they can, the males can come in and fertile the eggs. So the bottom in this particular cove right here is a real hard bottom. It's a clean bottom, and nothing in it here but the brush and bushes. You getting right in there, right at the right place, boy.
Look here what I've got moving out. Isn't that something?
You better do something.
I got him. I've got him. 2 more fillets. How many fillets you and I are gonna have to have?
Well, I can eat about 8. There ain't nothing like good fish, I tell you. I believe in eating. If you don't believe it, you just look at the size of me.
Birdsong Creek paid off, but when we come back, Rayo will try another area of Kentucky Lake.
There I are 3 ways you can try moving closer to these fish. With a gas outboard, with a noisy electric, or with a quiet Minn Kota electric. To a fisherman, the choice is black and white. Minn Kota, the quiet power that catches fish.
This is the GOT 16-quart cooler. It's better insulated than any other cooler of its size. In the bottom, the sides, even on top. And because the GOT 16 is better insulated, it does a better job keeping things cold. The GOT 16, it's the colder cooler.
They're finally here, but you must keep it a secret or they won't be here for long. The new Phantoms from Plano. Once you see Phantom's innovative graphite design, nothing else will do. You'll see, and then you'll have to have the new Phantom tackle box and rod case, only from Plano. Catch one now before they disappear.
There's a bass out there ready for the record book. A shark. A walleye. Now you've got the line to land them. Stren Class Line. We make it as strong as IGFA rules will let us. Any stronger, it would be disqualified. They're waiting. Stren Class Line from DuPont. Come, rewrite the record book with Stren.
In this segment, Rayo tries another popular method of catching crappie. He'll keep using his cork and jig, but instead of fishing buckbrush, he'll try submerged brush piles. His guest is Steve McAdams, a real well-known Kentucky lake hunting and fishing guide.
Look at what I got me going.
Rayo, have you gotten a bite already? Oh, you come over here and talk to one of my little pets already.
Is this one of these Kentucky Lake?
That's one of them head shakers.
Oh, boy.
He hit that little old jig as soon as you brought it across that mat. Hey, he got to look at you and taking off.
That's a one near, isn't it?
That's it. Boy, he'll fit just right between 2 pieces of bread, I'll tell you that. Hey, listen, I'm glad to have you over here again catching these crappie.
Well, I'm glad to be over here. He got a little bit of a red tail.
I tell you what, Rayo, these fish are in the process of spawning. They get a little bit mean, and sometimes, you know, it's kind of like a bass. Sometimes when they're spawning, they'll, you know, fan a bed out a little bit, or maybe they're in around that buckbush or the roots, in this case, the roots of that willow treetop I've got put out there. But that's a fine one. That's a fish way over a pound.
Oh, golly.
Go out there and get one right there.
How deep is that mat?
Rayo, we're fishing about, of course, we got our jigs about 3 or 4 feet, and the mat is about 7 foot of water, so we're kind of fishing over it, and that's the reason for taking that buoy marker and marking that brush like we did, and that way we can pinpoint that brush and bring that jig right over it.
It's the depth that you want it.
That's right. Well, you can fish it jig, you know, where it doesn't hang in that brush as much as these floats.
Steve, I'm not even tripping my bail. You say I'm getting, you think I'm getting a little bit nervous there?
Hey, listen, if you don't get excited, it wouldn't be any fun.
That's right, I guarantee you. You know
I got a lick here. Look here, Rayo. I got a lick.
Oh, that's a good fish.
That fish bobbed it and then let go. Got there, big head checker. Look out. That fish got to look at you, Rayo.
That fish knows that I'm hungry, Steve.
I think he does. I'm going to lip that dude because you got me using the spider web line here. Look at that.
Yeah, that's all right. That is all right.
I'll tell you what.
Steve, in a steak bed such as this, yeah, that's all right.
I'm going to put mine back here, okay?
Okay. You can catch, what, 10 or 15 fish a lot of times out of one mat?
Sometimes, Rayo, when they get, you know, holding pretty tight around that cover, it's not unusual for a little treetop, maybe half the size of this boat, to hold 10 or 12 fish. Of course, a lot of times you can catch 6 or 8 and then go to another brush pile. And I put out, you know, quite a few beds. For that reason, just keep going like a paper route. But,
right. I knew, I've fished with you many times up here, that you put out a lot of work fixing these in the January and February.
And when that old barber goes under like that, it makes all that work worthwhile.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Is he there?
He touched it and let go. Come on back, darling.
You really talk to him good when you...
They're about like my wife. They don't always listen, but I talk to them. I'll tell you that. I'm going to try that again.
I like the idea of fishing like this. In other words, if they're hitting at 3 feet, you can keep that jig at 3 feet at all times. Steve, I think that's very important.
I think depth on crappie is probably as crucial as any species of fish because, you know, an old crappie is lazy, Rayo. He's not going to move too much to get a bait. You've got to pretty well present it on his terms at his depth. And there's no cliche about crappie coming up for a bait, but and they will come up more and they'll go down. But basically, I just don't think he'll move too much either way.
I don't either. In other words, I think that what we found out about crappie, say if they're at 6 feet, you're not going to find too many at another depth.
That's right. What we're doing here, of course, we're coming over that brush, or we're just skimming the tops of it, and that jig may be hitting a limb every now and then, but those fish are laying apparently a little bit suspended or right at that cover, and so it's paying off today. But there's other times when you've got to maybe hang it, you know, or vertical fish it and get right in it. But yeah. I enjoy it this way right here.
Well, I enjoy using these little ultralight rods, Steve, and actually the light line that we're using, you can't horse a fish.
That's right.
But a 1.5 pound crappie feel like what? You weigh 4 or 5 pounds?
Oh, he pulls like a pair of blue-nosed mules.
Blue-nosed mules.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one to use that. Them blue-nosed
like
mules
a John Deere
mean and pull, don't
That's
they?
right. I'm right around that marker now, Rayo, right where that brush is going. Look out there. Hey.
Yeah.
That's one of those old males there. That's an old
You
rooster.
immediately recognize it. Tell
that
me
dark
why.
pigment on his skin, if I can get him up here, I'm going to lift that one too, because I'm scared he'll break off. Come here, boy.
That little line?
Yeah. See, that's a darker colored one, Rayo.
Right.
A lot darker colored, and they have a hormone change during the spring when they're getting ready to spawn, and that's actually the male white crappie. But he's got, you know, darker color, pigment change during the spawning season in the spring, and then when he goes back to deep water in late May or early June, he'll retain his white color and looks almost identical to the female.
You trying to get me wet out here.
I know it. It's done started, you know, I didn't even notice that rain catching that fish.
You know, when you're catching fish, you don't, do you?
That's true. I tell you.
Steve, are we going to have to run into the boat dock?
I tell you, Rayo, it's a pretty bad-looking cloud right there. I don't know. I don't like that lightning. I want to live to come again.
Oh, you bet.
Rayo, your bobber's going under.
Oh, I'm
boy.
glad you reminded me.
That fish went sideways.
I tell you, this rod nearly, look here, what a...
Ooh, look at it. Hey, I like to see that bending, and that's a good crappie.
Shoot,
Another
they
female.
all good.
I'll make a deal with you catch the girls and I'll catch the boys. How's that?
That'd be all right. The female, we might explain that just a little. Oh.
What about it?
Why don't we, Steve, show a comparison?
Be a good idea, like I mentioned earlier.
You mentioned...
the color contrast difference between the female and the male.
Steve, what you're talking about now it's very obvious. One of them is darker and one of them is whiter, and the lateral lines and the specks that you mentioned. But you can visually see the female here on my right and the male with a dark color on the left. How long do you feel that these dark males of this color, how long does that last, you think?
Well, generally they'll start shading or phasing around early April, maybe late March, early April, as the water begins to come from the 50s up to the low 60s, and by mid and late April, like it is now, temperature right today in the low to mid 70s. So by then they're in the peak of the spawn, and that's a gradual, you know, thing that occurs. And by late April, he's got his full color, and then in late May, he'll start fading back and tinting a little bit as he heads back to those deep water creek channels and ledges.
What kind of snake is that there?
That's a banded water snake. You know what I call them?
What?
No shoulders.
No shoulders. That's about right.
Just a no shoulder.
You got a lot of them around here?
Oh, they're not too bad. You see a few, but he's got to eat too.
Oh, yeah.
He won't bother if you don't bother them.
Are they poisonous?
No, they're not poisonous. They won't hurt you. A lot of people automatically, if they water mice come in, he's a
to
little
me,
banded.
it's actually a pretty snake.
Oh, he's beautiful. Notice those bands on him. And, you know, I had a friend tell me he's only scared of 4 kinds. He said, I said, ask him, what's that? And he said, big ones, little ones, live ones, and dead ones.
The boss, the bank, the bills, you forget them all when the big one hits. The new Daiwa Whisker Graphite. Tiny silicon fibers make the graphite components lighter and stronger. Grace under pressure. When you've been waiting all week, you better go with the best. We're talking serious fishing here.
Boy, you just can't believe how well the new lure I'm using right here catches fish. Hello, everybody, I'm Bill Dance, and you're looking at a totally new concept in fishing lures, one that I've wished for during my entire fishing career. It's the new dancing eel, and bass simply can't resist it when it comes swimming by. Now, you can't buy these anywhere yet, but watch close because we want to give you one absolutely free.
Yes, you heard Bill right. The incredible new dancing eel is absolutely free with your purchase of original fish formula March 1st through 31st only. Details at your favorite dealer.
When I'm out here on the lake, all the sun that I can take, and the warm wind blowing by me, think I'll stay. My bass boat's like a song, she's playing down and running strong, riding in a Ranger all the way. Riding in a Ranger all the way.
If you were a big bass and you saw this rascal come flashing by, would you hit it? You bet you would. It's Strike King's sensational willow spin featuring a new prism bar willow leaf blade that creates a unique sound and vibration that fish are really attracted to. Available in 3 sizes and 20 colors, including 6 new tricolors. The Willow Spin by Strike King. Try it. It's truly a big bass bait. Fishermen, there's only one place to buy your fishing tackle. It's where I buy a lot of mine. I buy direct from Bass Pro Shops, America's leading supplier of premium fishing tackle. Bass Pro Shop has everything you can imagine, the top name brands, plus many exclusive Bass Pro Shop products that you won't find anywhere else. How about letting me send you a copy of this new 1986 Spring Fever catalog absolutely free? Call 1-800-BASS-PRO. That's 1-800-BASS-PRO, and start saving on your fishing tackle right now.
Rayo Breckenridge Outdoors has been brought to you in part by Daiwa, where high technology keeps coming up with better ways to fish. Ranger Boats, we still build them one boat at a time. Fish Formula by Keeper Bait Company. For the serious fisherman, fish formula just keeps making sense. And by Strike King Lure Company, manufacturers of the world's #1 spinnerbaits. Thanks for joining Rayo during this past half hour of fish and fun. We also want to thank all the folks who helped bring Rayo Breckenridge Outdoors into your home. Welcome once again to Rayo Breckenridge Outdoors. Our show is brought to you in part by Daiwa, where high technology keeps coming up with better ways to fish. Ranger Boats, we still build them one boat at a time. Fish Formula by Keeper Bait Company. For the serious fisherman, fish formula just keeps making sense. And by Strike King Lure Company, manufacturers of the world's #1 spinnerbaits. After this message from our sponsor, Rayo will be right back and take you fishing.
The boss, the bank, the bills, you forget them all when the big one hits. The new Daiwa Whisker Graphite. tiny silicon fibers make the graphite components lighter and stronger. Grace under pressure. When you've been waiting all week, you better go with the best. We're talking serious fishing here.
Boy, you just can't believe how well the new lure I'm using right here catches fish. Hello, everybody, I'm Bill Dance, and you're looking at a totally new concept in fishing lures, one that I've wished for during my entire fishing career. It's the new dancing eel, and bass simply can't resist it when it comes swimming by. Now, you can't buy these anywhere yet, but watch close because we want to give you one absolutely free.
Yes, you heard Bill right. The incredible new dancing eel is absolutely free with your purchase of original fish formula March 1st through 31st only. Details at your favorite dealer.
When I'm out here on the lake, all the sun that I can take, and the warm wind blowing by me, think I'll stay. My bass boat's like a song, she's playing down and running strong, riding in a Ranger all the way. Riding in a Ranger all the way.
If you were a big bass and you saw this rascal come flashing by, would you hit it? You bet you would. It's Strike King's sensational willow spin featuring a new prism bar willow leaf blade that creates a unique sound and vibration that fish are really attracted to. Available in 3 sizes and 20 colors, including 6 new tricolors. The Willow Spin by Strike King. Try it. It's truly a big bass bait.
This morning, Rayo's fishing an oxbow lake, created more than a century ago when the Mississippi River changed its course. Although the river found a new channel to the west, it left behind its legacy, an 18-mile-long crescent-shaped ribbon of water that even today remains rich in fish and wildlife. Bordered on the east by the state of Mississippi and on the west by Arkansas, its waters are still part of the Mississippi River. The rise and fall of the big river controls the rise and fall of this smaller watercourse, and these changing levels also affect a fisherman's luck. Just a slight drop or rise could be either good news or bad. Rayo will explain in a moment.
I think of all the oxbow lakes up and down the Mississippi, the Arkansas, and the White River, this is one of my favorite areas. There's a long, extended island here of dead timber and logs that's in the water. And this morning I want to try to use a spinnerbait. This time of year I've always had good luck, usually a sangle spin of like this variety. And why I like to do this, the river is falling, this oxbow is falling with it, and it's doing it very gradually. And these fish will pull naturally to the first structure. And these islands of stick-ups and dead timber, they like to get in there no matter how shallow it is, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 foot deep, and they'll still hang in that this timber. Usually you'll find them under the logs. To me, is some of the best fish. In other words, I take my spinnerbait and throw it as close to the log as I can get it, and always on the shady side, the downside on it, and start from there and try to get my retrieve down to what depth I want it, usually 2 or 3 feet. Sometimes it'll hit on top or the bottom. And I've always had good luck with it, no matter how hot it gets or how cool it is. It's still the same way. We're going to have a lot of boat traffic today because the fishing has really turned on. And naturally, any place that's in the Mid-South or wherever you're fishing, when these bass fishermen hear the fish are hitting a certain place, they're going to try to get there as quick as possible. But I'm going to start out with this spinnerbait. I think I've always had good luck with it, like I said, no matter what the weather. But it can be excellent worm fishing or light jigging eel, that type of fishing. and real late in the afternoon, early morning, it's always good for topwater. But today I'm going to try this spinnerbait. And the reason for these bass hanging in here when it's dropping this way is a bait fish. You can visibly see the bait fish. And the old saying is, where the bait fish is, that's where your big fish are. And that's what I'm going to try. Look here, got him, look at that. Take it easy, Rayo. Don't get in a hurry here. He's right in the creek, so let me see if I can get to him. I want some more fish today, and I think. Watch that dude hung. Boy, he got that line pulled in it. I like 2 feet getting to him. Now I can. He's gonna break the line. That's the sharp. Right down in the... Whew, he's worth it. Golly, he tore his mouth. That'll grow back. He's worth going after, surely. I bet I come across 10 logs in. Look at that, how he bent my spinnerbait. That ought to be about right. There's another log. Right there. Now, you can always tell when you're coming up on these logs, no other ways, if you don't have a real good feel, but just simply watching your line, he'll stop in one place while you're reeling it. You know that line is on something when you do that. As I said before, fishing this type of stuff, standing timber and logs, and actually there's some fine brush in here in places, you can expect to lose some fish, get your line broke, but it's worth it. There's one. Oh, it was one. That fish is still on there. But how do you get him out when it won't give? He must have went around the whole thing. He had a lot of slack at one time. Looky here. What do you think about that? Oh, he got that line. Easy, easy, boy. Easy. Don't you take a big run. I'm gonna show y'all how you got that spinnerbait. Looky here. There's a loop from here. The hook is double back through to here with a line. Now, what do you think about that? He did that probably. He just about had the hook out. It stuck through his nostril. I ain't know which way this line goes. Had a loop there. Then the hook fell out. That's something. And that's it. That's a nice fish. I never got much pull out of him. Goodbye, boy. I bet he went around that stump 4 or 5 times. Well, seems all right. You know, fishing this heavy timber is not a easy thing to do sometimes. You're gonna get a lot of fish hung up, you're gonna get broke off, all that sort of thing, simply because there's much structure under there. I always go to a heavier rod, casting rod, and a little bit heavier line will help. When I start, I may have as many as 3 or 4 rods out, spinning rods. In other words, example, I'm up I will put on like a worm on one, a jigging eel or jigging worm combination, maybe a topwater or a crankbait. When I know I'm going to start out with a spinnerbait, and the reason for that, I try to find out exactly what these fish is going to like for the day, particular day I'm fishing. And I've got these others you can always, any place I've ever fished, by having a second or third bait rigged up, if you happen to get in an area fish, pick up maybe an extra fish or two before you leave that area with a different bait. But I like to use like a medium heavy to a heavy rod in the casting rod in the area where you got this much timber. You got as much timber under the water here as you have out of the water. Now, you don't have to use a casting rod. It's, you know, strictly your preference on that. But I like something, in other words, when I stick him on and bring him here to the boat. And there's a lot of objects on the water. And just because you get a strike, there's no sign you're going to get him to the boat. You know, some of you might wonder why this timber's out here in the middle of a lake. At one time, this was a bar. And it built up enough till the timber started growing. Every bit of this timber in here that you see is willow, or most of it is. And this was just a long peninsula that come out in the lake, built up from the silts and whatnot from the Mississippi River before it was completely cut off. And it's just like a long, one way, just like a long extended point. And naturally the water's got up over this during the floods and whatnot, and it's killed the timber years ago. But water sort of preserves this while it's under the water, and that's a reason for it's still standing. And one thing you want to always keep in mind in a fishing like a place like that, when you bump this tallest timber in here, it's still decayed a lot. And you can get one on your head, so it can be dangerous, especially when it's a little bit winter. So you want to always watch when you're bumping this tallest timber, because you could get a knot on your head and do it pretty easy. As a matter of fact, a lot of people call them widowmakers.
There are 3 ways you can try moving closer to these fish. With a gas outboard, with a noisy electric, or with a quiet Minn Kota electric. To a fisherman, the choice is black and white. Minn Kota, the quiet power that catches fish.
This is the Gott 16-quart cooler. It's better insulated than any other cooler of its size. In the bottom, the sides, even on top. And because the Gott 16 is better insulated, it does a better job keeping things cold. The Gott 16, it's the colder cooler.
They're finally here, but you must keep it a secret or they won't be here for long. The new Phantoms from Plano. Once you see Phantom's innovative graphite design, nothing else will do. You'll see, and then you'll have to have the new Phantom tackle box and rod case, only from Plano. Catch one now before they disappear.
There's a bass out there ready for the record book. A shark. A walleye. Now you've got the line to land them. Stren class line. We make it as strong as IGFA rules will let us. Any stronger, it would be disqualified. They're waiting. Stren class line from DuPont. Come, rewrite the record book with Stren.
There's a gar floating. You know, that's one thing you can tell in these oxbows. These gar starts floating, gets hot. And really, in this type of water, that's when the bass fishing gets good. When the gars are floating, it gets hot, and the fish seldom ever gets deep, you know, real deep. I'm talking like over 10 foot, which is unusual in one way. There he is. Come on out there. Oh, man. We'd like to have a bunch of them. Come on up here, boy. You want to get in the trolling motor. I want him in a boat. On back here. That's a wonder if I ever saw it. How about that? He's fat like me, if I want to hold on to him. Now, we've talked about all day how pretty these fish are in here. That's a pretty good example. They're fat, sassy. And he's ready to swim back. Might be another one on that, if I can just get it to the right spot. Still out here where it looks open in places, there's logs. There he is. Get a swirl. Come on over that log. How's that? Oh, he's feisty this morning. You know, we were talking about throwing down the same log earlier 4 or 5 times. This prime example of that. That was about the 4th or 5th throw, coming right down the log on the dark side. So that's something you want to keep in mind. You don't think there'd be a third one down there, do you? You know, I mentioned fishing for bass in here. It is black bass, but fishing these areas, really, you can't imagine how many varieties of game fish are in these lakes. Naturally, they're fed directly from Mississippi River, which contains down in this area a lot of different species. Besides the black bass, you have a lot of striped bass in here. Quite a few sand bass, as a lot of people call them, are whites. Yellow bass, which is a sort of a bass that's actually, they're real small, they're delicious eating, but they're not too well known anywhere. Naturally, you got brim that you cannot imagine how big they get. In areas out in like this, when they're spawning or back in the green timber, you can all find those in big schools sometime. Very large brim. Catfish, you can actually, once in a while catch catfish on these lures. Throwing them, and I don't mean every cast, but every once in a while. You can even catch a sauger once in a while. Sturgeon or something like that. About every species of fish that we have all through this area in the Mid-South, it wouldn't be unusual, is what I'm trying to say, to catch one of them in these oxbows, because they do get stocked once or twice a year from the river overflow. There he is. Oh, that's a good fish. Come up here, boy. Come on. Come on up here. You trying to get airborne. Come on back here. Fish. You got a spot on him there. He's healthy. He'll be all right with that spot. Be all right. Wouldn't you like to catch them all day long like that? You know, one of the ways you can tell about a spinnerbait doing its job is your rod tip. You can feel that spinnerbait every time that blade turns. The vibration that it gives off from the bait doing this will really attract fish. The sound and the vibration. You know what's unusual to a lot of people in these oxbows? Naturally, 150 to 200 years ago, say the right or left side, either one, the way the river used to be in these oxbows, that's what this used to be, the Mississippi River. Well, they go back as far as records they can prove to what, say, this island belongs to Arkansas or Mississippi in this instance. But what they do here, the first question you'd probably ask is, if you're fishing, what kind, do I have to have both licenses from Arkansas and Mississippi? You don't. But the reason for that, the two states has an agreement that either license are good no matter which side of the state you put in on. Whether it be Arkansas or Mississippi, you have to have just the one license only. And then probably your next question would be, well, what's the limit? Would it have to go with Arkansas limit or Mississippi limit? Again, they've got an agreement, and actually they go to the highest, the state with the highest limit, which takes care of the limit part. And it's an unusual situation. That in this particular oxbow here, it don't matter which side you put in on. Your own state's license is good, and you go to the highest limit of either state on, like, say, crappie. In Arkansas, it'd be like 20, in Mississippi, 50. You'd be allowed, when you come over the levee, 50 crappie. So it's not as confusing as, you might think it'd be. And it takes all the confusion away from the local fishermen on either side of the Mississippi River. Naturally, the game and fish laws are different in each state, so it'd be a good idea where that is a factor, to just check with your boat dock or the game and fish people. It's easy done, and it's for the better, really, of the fishermen for you to do this. I might mention, you pass by a lot while you're fishing these oxbows, and you look out on the bank and you say, well, there's no hardwood there. It's all willows. But these, the banks on most of these oxbows will slope for a long ways, just very gradually. And naturally, until you get out to the natural hard soil part of it, it will be willows. Then all of a sudden you get into the hardwoods, but it might be out there as much as 100 yards before you actually can see the hardwood. But there is a lot of hardwood out there too.
You've heard this one before. Man, you should have been here yesterday. The fish were jumping in the boat. Well, Rayo's got proof. At least one did jump in his boat. This is one fish story that'll sure get told more than once.
The boss, the bank, the bills, you forget them all when the big one hits. The new Daiwa Whisker Graphite. Tiny silicon fibers make the graphite components lighter and stronger. Grace under pressure. When you've been waiting all week, you better go with the best. We're talking serious fishing here.
Boy, you just can't believe how well the new lure I'm using right here catches fish. Hello, everybody, I'm Bill Dance, and you're looking at a totally new concept in fishing lures, one that I've wished for during my entire fishing career. It's the new dancing eel, and bass simply can't resist it when it comes swimming by. Now, you can't buy these anywhere yet, but watch close because we want to give you one absolutely free.
Yes, you heard Bill right. The incredible new dancing eel is absolutely free with your purchase of original fish formula, March 1st through 31st only. Details at your favorite dealer.
At Ranger, safety has always been extremely important. As a pioneer in upright and level flotation, our safety standards are among the highest in the industry. Beneath the surface of every Ranger, quality construction and foam-filled cavities tell the whole story. Even with huge sections of the bow, floor, rails, and transom cut away, a Ranger boat remains very much afloat.
Ranger boats, we still build them one at a time.
If you were a big bass and you saw this rascal come flashing by, would you hit it? You bet you would. It's Strike King's sensational willow spin featuring a new prism bar willow leaf blade that creates a unique sound and vibration that fish are really attracted to. Available in 3 sizes and 20 colors, including 6 new tricolors. The Willow Spin by Strike King. Try it. It's truly a big bass bait. Fishermen, there's only one place to buy your fishing tackle. It's where I buy a lot of mine. I buy direct from Bass Pro Shops, America's leading supplier of premium fishing tackle. Bass Pro Shop has everything you can imagine, the top name brands, plus many exclusive Bass Pro Shop products that you won't find anywhere else. How about letting me send you a copy of this new 1986 Spring Fever catalog absolutely free? Call 1-800-BASS-PRO. That's 1-800-BASS-PRO and start saving on your fishing tackle right now.
Rayo Breckenridge Outdoors has been brought to you in part by Daiwa, where high technology keeps coming up with better ways to fish. Ranger boats, we still build them one boat at a time. Fish Formula by Keeper Bait Company. For the serious fisherman, Fish Formula just keeps making sense. And by Strike King Lure Company, manufacturers of the world's #1 spinnerbaits. Thanks for joining Rayo during this past half hour of fish and fun. We also want to thank all the folks who helped bring Rayo Breckenridge Outdoors into your home.